world. In other words, brothers and sisters, there is no one to save us but us. In case no one told you this, I'm telling you this. They told me. They thought I was white. So, you know, Dr. Fraser, I was at an all-white event. I'm sort of like, maybe God put me here as a spy, a double agent. We will not be saving black people. No. In fact, white folks are not even thinking about black people. Do you know who white folks are thinking about? They're thinking about white folks. They're thinking about their children, their wives, their husbands, their communities, their businesses, their educational system. They're not thinking about you. I had a good white friend who said to me not long ago, he said, George, I know the problem with black people. I said, oh, really? Really, Bob? What might that be? He said, you spend all your time thinking about us, and we don't spend any of our time thinking about you. Therefore, if you're not thinking about you, and we damn sure ain't thinking about you, who's thinking about you? Well, I had to do a Holy Ghost dance. I had Sometimes I feel that we are searching for a key to an unlocked door.
Dr. George Fraser, a visionary, a connector, and a leader. For decades, he has been a beacon of inspiration, championing the power of networking, education, and economic empowerment within the black community. But who is this incredible man, and why is his message so vital today? Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thought later.
I have two definitions for leadership. To be a leader is to be awake and alert and to be dissatisfied at all times. Oh yes, we have come a long way, but we have much further to go. Therefore, brothers and sisters, I am not happy. But I am motivated by a positive anger directed towards positive change. What do we know about change? We know that you will never change that which you tolerate, and you will only change when you get angry. Obviously, black people are not quite angry enough. So we will continue to experience pain, death, and social injustice until we stop it, until we act, until we get angry. My second definition is that a leader defines reality and provides hope. A leader defines reality and provides hope. So I'm going to define reality as I see it, as a race man, as a black man that has served our community for 40 years, and it's crisscrossed the world, has been every place that black people have been dispersed. South Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, West Africa, all over North Africa, all over South America, and all over the Caribbean. I'm going to define that reality for you. I believe that African Americans are at a pivotal point in history. The world is not waiting for us to wake up to our power. It is time for African Americans to take a seat at the table, not only in America, but also in the global economy. Unfortunately, we continue to place our power in the hands of those who have historically oppressed us, and even worse, we continue to oppress each other. This is the meaning of internalized oppression. To continue to fall into the cultural hypnosis of thinking that white America controls our lives is a true abdication of our personal power, and the reality is that each and every day is an opportunity for us to create a new and powerful story in our culture, and unless we find a way to write this new story and to claim our power, there will be devastating implications for our community and for the world. In other words, brothers and sisters, there is no one to save us but us. case no one told you this, I'm telling you this. They told me. They thought I was white. So, you know, Dr. Fraser, I was at an all-white event. I'm sort of, like, maybe God put me here as a spy, a double agent. We will not be saving black people. No. In fact, white folks are not even thinking about black people. Do you know who white folks are thinking about? They're thinking about white folks. They're thinking about their children, their wives, their husbands, their communities, their businesses, their educational system. They're not thinking about you. I had a good white friend who said to me not long ago, he said, George, I know the problem with black people. I said, oh, really? Really, Bob? What might that be? He said, you spend all your time thinking about us, and we don't spend any of our time thinking about you. Therefore, if you're not thinking about you, and we damn sure ain't thinking about you, who's thinking about you? Well, I had to do a Holy Ghost dance. I had Sometimes I feel that we are searching for a key to an unlocked door. That the door to opportunity in this great country, this great racist white supremacist country, and it's racist and white supremacy, there's no question about that, it's in the DNA. You will not live to see that change. You will not fix that. There will have to be generations of white people that will simply have to die. Really, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to fix it. You cannot train that out of white people. They will have to die. So we have our work to do. Because there is more opportunity than we have the capacity to take advantage of. We just have to, as Dr. Watkins says, we just have to begin to think that way. The great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing left us with this, and I quote, "We wonder why we cannot, and we wonder why we're not making progress. We wonder why we're not making progress." This is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And then she went on to say, "I can't call myself a bitch, a hoe, a nigger, a gangster, and a thug every day and then get up and do something constructive. That's impossible."
Right.
The great rapper Kendrick Lamar said it a little bit differently. And I quote, "How can you fight for love on behalf of your people when you can barely find a reason to love yourself?" Kendrick Lamar. Drake said it a little bit differently. I happen to like Drake. I like the way he put this. I like the way he spit this out. And he said, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Started from the bottom, now I'm here. Absolutely, I can relate to that. Born in Brooklyn, New York, in Bed-Stuy. We have lost our consciousness. We must get our consciousness back. The fight for social justice is never ending. We will not achieve it in our lifetime. And as I said earlier, many more will die before this occurs. But that's how it's always been. In studying our people, I have noticed that it takes us about 100 years to achieve the things that we want to achieve. Our fight for freedom. Isn't it interesting that we achieved our freedom without guns or money? And it took us 250 years, but we achieved our freedom. That's how awesome black people are. We freed ourselves without guns or money. Why do you think we were able to do that. We were right, and they were wrong. And whenever you are operating out of goodness and righteousness, you will always win. We achieved our civil rights, voting rights, and public access from 1864 to 1964. It took 100 years, but we achieved it. And we did it without guns or money. Why were we able to do that? Because we were right. How do I know that we will achieve social justice? How do I know that we will close the income and wealth gap over time? I know because we are right and they are wrong.
Black power.
That's how I know. But we must chart a good and righteous course, and we must stay that course. And we must now understand that we must focus on wealth. We must focus on economic development and wealth creation. There are many ways to get there. We must answer the question that so many of us ask each and every day, but we don't have an answer. Why is wealth important? Not so that we buy more stuff. We don't need any more stuff. That's our problem. We have too much stuff. We are a consumption class of people. Jews are a merchant class. So we must shift our thinking from consumption class, because that's all we do, to a merchant class. We'll put a pin in that. I'll pick up on that in a moment. Why is wealth important? We are the only culture in the history of humankind that put political empowerment before economic empowerment. Last year we elected over 9,000 black public officials, and we're still at the bottom of the educational and economic heap. What does that mean? You cannot do it by politics alone. How dare you put that kind of pressure on our political leadership? But again, we are no fools. We were born at night, but not last night. We didn't come down here with the last drop of rain. We know that we're all impacted by public policy, and yes, we're all impacted by the politics of inclusion. And yes, we must continue to use the power of our vote to empower those who empower us. If they're not empowering us, if we are not a plank on their platform as it relates to economics and the upliftment of our people and communities, then don't vote for them. That's on you. Why is wealth important? Your wealth will determine where you live. Where you live will determine where your children go to school. Where your children go to school will determine the quality of your children's higher education, and the quality of your children's higher education will determine their lifelong earnings. And your children's lifelong earnings will determine where your children live. And where your children live will determine where your grandchildren go to school. And where your grandchildren go to school will determine the quality of your grandchildren's higher education, and that will determine their life. Do you see the cycle of poverty here? Why is wealth important? Dr. Boyce spoke so eloquently, so fabulously, so granularly of this. That in a market-based economy, in a democratic capitalistic society, in case no one has told you, the only color that really matters is green! So until our pile of green is as big and as high and as deep and as wide and as leveraged as any other cultural group's pile of green, we will never be considered an equal at the table of democratic capitalism. Why is wealth important? Because when we finish pontificating ad nauseum about our issues, somebody's got to write a check.
Right.
Our Jewish brothers and sisters can write a check. Our Asian brothers and sisters can write a check. Our Arab brothers and sisters can write a check. I've been to Dubai lately, and they can write some serious checks. Stupid money. They got stupid money. We can't write a check. Let me say that differently. We cannot even convene our people unless somebody else writes the check. Ask the NAACP. Ask the Congressional Black Caucus, which I've spoken at for 41 years straight. Ask the Urban League. If somebody else wasn't writing the check, we couldn't even meet. We must fix this in the 21st century. So I'm going to tell you a secret that no CPA will tell you. The tax system was set up for the landowner and the business owner. The landowner and the business owner. So if we don't own land, and we own the fewest number of homes per capita of any cultural group in this country, and we came over here on the Mayflower, and we don't own businesses, and we own the fewest number of businesses per capita of any cultural group in this country, and again, we came over here on the Mayflower, you cannot fully exploit the American tax system. The American tax system will exploit you. So one of the reasons Mitt Romney back in the day when he was running against Obama did not want you to see his tax returns. Why? Not because he did anything illegal. It's because he's a big-time landowner, big-time business owner, and he used the benefits of that land ownership and business owner to pay a micro percentage of tax, far less tax on a percentage basis than you and I will ever pay. America is about equity and ownership, and the idea that the black community can exercise effective power, and I think you said this, boys, political or otherwise, without simultaneously exercising economic power is a fantasy. That capitalism without capital is just ism.
That's right.
So the question becomes for us, or the statement, there can be no collective will and vision without a strong sense of identity, and there can be no strong sense of identity without a unifying purpose. So the question then is, what are we unified around? What is the next big thing? What is the third and final moral imperative and moral assignment? The first two, freedom. The second was civil rights, voting rights, and public access. The third, as far as I'm concerned, is economic development, wealth creation, closing of the income and wealth gap. So, because when we look at the world today, we will see that powerful nations and powerful people are producing people and not just consuming people. And as I've often said in my many speeches around the country, you cannot consume yourself into equality, and you cannot consume yourself into power. And those people who depend upon consumption will see as they consume the products of others and do not produce for themselves will ultimately be consumed by others. Therefore, in the 21st century, the goal for us as a community must be to become a community of owners and savers instead of a community of consumers and renters.
Entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker George Fraser was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1945. One of 8 children born to either Baldwin and Frederick Fraser, he graduated from the Thomas Edison Vocational High School, attended New York University, and received his executive training at Dartmouth College, Amos, and Tuck School of Business. Fraser spent 17 years in management with Procter & Gamble, the United Way, and the Ford Motor Company. He wrote his first book, Bestseller Success, Run in Our Race, The Complete Guide to Effective Networking in the African Community, in 1994. His second book, Race for Success, The 10 Best Business Opportunities for Blacks in America, was selected as one of the 10 best business books of 1999 by Booklist magazine. He is also the creator and publisher of the award-winning Success Guide, The Networking Guide to Black Resources. 20 versions of Success Guide have been published, and a worldwide edition was released in August 2000. Fraser has received many awards and citations for his community service, including the United Negro College Fund National Volunteer of the Year Award and an Architect of Village Award from Allstate Insurance. He is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. In 1986, a director of marketing and communication for the United Way of Cleveland, he conceived, planned, and led the release of 1.4 million balloons, the largest single balloon release in history. The publication Vital Speech of the Day has selected 3 of Mr. Fraser's speech to be reprinted and distributed worldwide. A first for any professional speaker in America, he has been featured in articles in Black Enterprise and Upscale magazine. Fraser and his wife, Nora Jane, are the parents of 2 sons. Dr. Fraser's career has been nothing short of groundbreaking. As the CEO of FraserNet, he has dedicated his life to building global connections for people of African descent. His annual Power Networking Conference is considered one of the most important gatherings for Black professionals and entrepreneurs, offering opportunities to network, learn, and grow. Dr. Frazer's commitment to the economic empowerment of Black communities is evident in everything he does. He believes in fostering collaboration, generational wealth, and education as pathway to true freedom and success. Through his programs and platforms, countless lives have been transformed. Dr. George Fraser is more than a leader. He is a movement. His message of unity, excellence, and empowerment continues to resonate with people across the globe. His legacy is clear: a brighter future on collaboration, education, and unyielding determination. And there you have it, guys. Kindly share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.